Good evening, Magic players. This is your girl, Ivy, again. We're going to talk about a deck I just built. This is a Commander format, EDH deck. As you can see, there's 100 cards here. Various creatures, Planeswalkers, etc. It's really based on a Planeswalker build, very much what you would call like a Super Friends type deck. Very much pro Planeswalkers and different things to get those Planeswalkers going. So let's just go ahead and jump right in it. Let's go ahead and head over to that commander and see what we got. I'm going ahead and using Ramos, Dragon Engine, as the commander. He's got flying. Whenever I cast a spell, I can put a +1/+1 counter on Ramos. Dragon Engine for each of that spell's colors. If he has 5 counters, I can on Ramos, I can add 10 mana in that assortment right there to my mana pool. Activate this ability once, only once each turn. Very useful as I'm, casting spells and things to get him up to a high point where I can cast more Planeswalkers and creatures and spells and things. Very, very useful. And he gives me the 5 color requirement so I can play this deck. Alright, so let's get started. Let's hit the lands first. Obviously, these are basic lands. You can kind of see what the deal is there. I don't really need to get into that. Ooh, look at Foil Mountain. Pretty. So next we're going to talk about these. These are triple lands. What they do is that. Really simple. It does come into play tap, which is, not so great, but it does give me access to 3 colors of mana when I need it. So if I get at least 2 of these out, then I've hopefully by then got access to hopefully all 5 colors I need right from the start. The next ones are going to be these lands. As you can see, they're dual color lands. I'm going to go ahead and talk about these real quick. So let's start off with this one. We've got Canopy Vista enters the battlefield tapped unless I control 2 or more basic lands. So, a good card to have if you're on turn 3 or you've got a couple basics out. If it's turn 1, I don't care if it comes in tap because I have nothing in this deck that plays for 1 mana anyway, so it'll be untapped on turn 2 and I'll drop another land. Looking good so far. Next one's going to be Bountiful Promenade. These are great. These just came out in Battle Bond. I love these. You can tell the Wizards of the Coast went ahead and built these around the whole Commander system and the whole popularity of Commander, because it's pretty rare I'm going to be playing this deck against one other person. In fact, it's not even designed for that purpose. So, great card. I wish I had 5 of these. I only have 2 so far, but it's a great card coming out of Battle Bond. I really like what's going on with Battle Bond right now. Really good cards in there. Next up, we got, again, another card from Battle Bond. Very similar to the last one. I think you can read that. Then we have Grove of Burn Willows. As you can see, it's you can tap it. Each opponent gains a life, but I get access to both colors without the land coming into play tapped, which is really good. Or I can, if I don't need the 2 colors, I can just use it for just 1 colorless. So next up is going to be Horizon Canopy, original Future Sight version. You can pay 1 life, add a forest or a plains to your mana pool. I can also go ahead and use it for card draw. So if I have enough mana to be doing what I'm doing later in game, it's probably better for me to be starting to get cards back in my hand. Beautiful, awesome, great, useful card. Can never say enough about that one. Next one is going to be this, the Filter Land. So if I need 2 of something, or maybe I just have the wrong color, I've got 2 reds and I need a blue and a red or something, you can see how that could be really useful really quick. All right, next up we got, let's do Rugged Prairie. Same thing as the last one, just, red or white. The next group is going to be more either sacrifice or tap land. So here's an old staple. It's been with Magic for at least 10 years. Evolving Wilds. Comes into play, you tap it, you bring a land in. You get the idea. This guy, original Zendikar, sacrifice land. So you pay 1 life, you sacrifice it, I can go get the forest or island card and put it into play. This card, of course, I take a damage if I do this, but, it does get me the mana I need without the card coming into play tapped. So it does give me a little more speed there. Very similar to Polluted Delta, as you can see. Same idea, just different colors. And likewise, again, Bloodstained Mire, very useful. And here we got Steam Vents. With this one, you know, I could pay 2 life and use it right away, or if I don't need it, just let it come in and play tapped, and then I untap it next turn. Gives me some options if I need to take those options. And of course, we got this one, Prairie Stream. It comes into play unless I control 2 or more basic lands. It comes into play tapped, unless I have those lands in play. Pretty useful. You know, if those lands are out, I can play it right away, get 2 colors of mana. Next up, we got Wooded Foothills. Again, another pay 1 life land. Pretty useful, I would say. Here we got our multicolor lands. So we got like Painted Bluff. Add 1 mana of any color to the mana pool just by putting 1 mana into it. So I can get it any color I need. Kind of another filter. And in here we also have some things. Myriad Landscape, Gemstone Mine, Cascading Cataracts, Glimmer Void, Command Tower, and Opal Palace. Good stuff. All right, moving onward. Here's a oldie but a goodie. I believe this goes all the way back to, I want to say maybe Legends? Legends originally came out with this land. But they reprinted it, so it allows me to return a legendary creature to its owner's hand. Oh, wait a minute. Isn't the commander legendary? Well, there you go. Goes back to the person's hand. You gotta recast it. Temple of the False God and Bojuka Bog. Anybody that's got some screwy things going on with their graveyard, obviously I can go ahead and exile this card and then, of course, exile a graveyard from a target player. Good stuff there. And then here we got our Mana Rocks. Mind Stone, and one that's kind of covered there. Mox Amber. I recently got 2 of those in a couple of packs. One of them was foil. Great card. Anything Mox and Magic is pretty much amazing. We got a Soul Ring. You probably know what Soul Ring does. If you're playing Commander, you're playing Soul Ring. A Thron Dynamo gives me 3 colorless mana I need. And of course, Gilded Lotus. I can get any color I want. Obviously, Thron Dynamo just gives me a colorless. And of course, the Gilded Lotus gives me any color. Very useful in a 5-color deck. These here are some artifacts. They're very tuned for this type of deck. So if you read this, when Contagion Engine enters the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature target player controls. Pretty useful. But when I pay its 4 ability, I can proliferate and then proliferate again, which means I can add additional loyalty counters to all of the Planeswalkers I have in play. Very useful. Next card is going to be the Chain Veil. Pretty much, if you're playing this deck, you have to have this card in it. You can see what it does. Obviously, it gets my Planeswalkers extra loyalty counters. Very, very, very useful. You can go ahead and activate more loyalty abilities. And then we've got Rings of the Bright Hearth. Obviously, if you can, whenever I play an activated ability, if it isn't a mana ability, I can pay 2, which Planeswalker abilities are not mana abilities. If I do, I can copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy, so I can get the resulting effect from the Planeswalkers twice, and do it twice. Very useful. Really good stuff there. Thrawn Temporal Gateway. I can put a historic permanent card from my hand into the battlefield. Planeswalkers are legendary now, so I can play a Planeswalker 4/4 without having the necessary colors of mana that the card requires. So I can just pretty much use any 4 mana and cast whatever Planeswalker I want with this card. Very, very useful. All right, let's get right into it. We're going to hit the Planeswalkers. First up, everybody who plays Magic probably knows about this guy by now, but this one is the OG. This is the original. Obviously, his CMC is really pretty high, but there are a lot of things in this deck that will reduce that CMC, just like the last card I showed you there that could make him come out for 4 instead of 8. I mean, that's great. I mean, look at this. So, his +3 is destroy target non-creature permanent. Useful. Got a problem. You can get rid of certain creatures. You can even target Planeswalkers. You can target commanders, artifacts, you name it. Even looks like lands too. Really super stuff. Gain control of target creature. It means I can go ahead and take Actually, I'll amend that a second. Of course, it's a non-creature permanent, so I can't, destroy the commander if it's a creature, but if it's a planeswalker, which is what they're doing right now with some of the new sets, well, then for sure, you can definitely destroy a planeswalker. I can gain control of target creature. He deals 7 damage to target player. Okay, whatever, big deal, not a problem. That player discards 7 cards and sacrifices 7 permanents. I mean, seriously? That could turn into a game winner, real fast. You never know. All right, moving on. I'll try to speed this up. I can draw a card and I lose a life from Ob Nixilis Reignited. I can destroy a target creature. Target opponent gets an emblem with whenever a player draws a card, you lose 2 life. Wow. And let's see. This is a new one, just came out in Battlebond. Until my next turn, up to 2 target creatures lose their base power and toughness to 0/3 and lose all abilities. Target player draws 2 cards. I can target myself if I want. Until next turn, instant sorcery and planeswalker spells that player casts are 2 less to cast. That's huge in this deck. And of course, the last ability, whenever I may cast an instant or sorcery spell, I can copy it. I can choose new targets for the copy. I think the -2 is awesome. And okay. This one I wasn't so sure about keeping in this deck, but we'll go ahead and, for now, stick with it. The bottom ability is really what made me stick with this card, because, I'm not going to have a lot of creatures going on here, but with a lot of the bonuses and proliferation I can do in this deck, getting it up to its -7 ability shouldn't be too hard. Same with the Testa, deals 2 damage divided they choose amongst 1 or 2 target creatures or players. Whatever. It's the -7. I mean, look at this. It's pretty amazing. Search your library for up to 2 creatures and or planeswalkers and put them in the battlefield. Then check from my library. So I get 2 planeswalkers for free. Free. And getting rid of -7 should be pretty easy in this deck. All right, here's an oldie but a goodie. It's a Jenny Goldman. I thought about switching him out, but really what I got him for maybe is that -6. He's only 2 away from his -6 before he's even on the field, so I may be able to start, putting out tokens that are equal to my life total. So, if I'm at 30 life or 35 life, well, then I have a 35 creature coming at somebody they're going to have to deal with that. So, definitely a way to start pulling out some kill spells and things from people's hands. Or a lot of things look like he has potential. Probably better in a token build, but I stuck him in here for the -6 because he's only 2 away. Next card we're going to do is Chandra. First ability, pretty weak. Second ability, okay, could be useful. It's really the -8, which again, she's only 2 away from it. She deals 10 damage to target player and each creature he or she controls. I mean, honestly, that could seriously be a game winner. Okay, maybe in Commander you have some strong creatures, but I mean, that's pretty huge. That pretty much can wipe out someone's entire board. Depending on what their protection is or what they pick on them. All right, next card is going to be Johnny Unyielding. He's pretty cool. Reveal the top 3 cards in my library. Put all non-land permanent cards revealed this way into my hand. The rest in the bottom of the library in any order. Okay, kind of cool. But the -5 is just broken. I mean, read this. Put 5 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control and 5 loyalty counters on each planeswalker you control. 5 counters, each planeswalker I control. So let's say I have 4 planeswalkers out. Well, all their ultimates go off pretty much instantly with that, as far as I can imagine. Especially in this deck, if I have like doubling season out, well then, I mean, I put 5 planeswalkers, then I get 10 planeswalkers, or 5 counters on each planeswalker, and then I have 10 counters on each planeswalker. It's just broken. So amazing. So much value there. Next one, Venzer. I really keep him in here, pretty useful, so I can exile permanents. It's got some advantages. He's got some things you can do there to mess around with other people that are trying to mess with me. Useful. Next card we got is Tamiyo. Great planeswalker. Tap target permanent. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. I can draw a card for each tapped creature that target player controls. I can get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. And whenever a card is put in your graveyard from anywhere, I return it to your hand. Amazing. You know, and with all stuff in this deck, I can probably try to get her up to the -8 pretty quick. We got next Lily, original Liliana Vess from M10 Magic, a long time ago. Caused me to make a player, or it allows me to cause a player to discard a card. Okay, whatevs. But yeah, -8, pretty useful. If there's been later in games, a lot of creatures in the graveyard. Well, I pretty much get them all. There's all my blockers for all my Planeswalkers. Definitely could be a game winner. You never know. Next up, this card. Oh my god, broken. All I'm going to say is -7, destroy all lands target player controls. Seriously? He's already at 3? I could probably get him there pretty quick. I mean, very useful to top down a permanent that's bothering you as well for +1. I mean, this card is amazing. Kyora, the Crashing Wave. Again, her -5. I can get a blue Kraken creature token in the battlefield at the end of my turn, end step. So you can see how this could be useful. And I can play additional lands on this turn, so it gets my mana ramp going. Useful stuff. Plus it's all non-basic lands, so it just specifies lands, so I can play a non-basic. And of course the infamous, the hated, the banned, the unbanned, Jace the Mind Sculptor. Yep, there he is, Jace. I don't think I'm going to read his abilities. I think by now people know who this guy is. You know, and no, I didn't pay $100 for him on any of these websites. I pretty much pulled him out of a pack. I actually pulled 4 of these guys out of different packs of cards back in the day in World Wake, because I liked World Wake and Zendikar and stuff. It's really cool. So, we all know about Jace. We either hate him, we love him, we hate him. I don't know. Figured I'd throw him in the deck. If I can get him up to -12, it's pretty much a game winner. Like, pretty much auto defeats a player, which, I don't know. Kind of broken, but I don't know. We'll see if I can ever get him out. He's only 1 in 99 cards. I mean, come on. The likelihood of getting him out is pretty slim. All right, let's see. Rouserac, very useful. You know, I tested it out, and I got his -7 off. I went ahead and flipped 5 coins. 3 of them came up heads, so I took 3 extra turns. I mean, it's pretty much in this deck, that's probably going to be an auto win. You know, if I can get 3 extra turns with everything else going on. It's crazy. All right, next up we got Angrath, the Flame Chained. He looks pretty angry. Look at that. Anyway, each opponent discards a card and loses 2 life. Good way to get some card advantage there. And gain control of target creature until end of turn and tap it. Basically just go ahead and take things from people and use their own creatures against them. And of course, each opponent loses life equal to the number of cards in his or her graveyard. Yeah, pretty useful. I like the -3. He's kind of useful. Next up, we got Sauron, Lord of Innistrad. I can go ahead and put a 1/1 black vampire creature token with lifelink in the battlefield. And that's useful to get some blockers real quick. To keep the planeswalkers alive, hopefully. That's the point. And of course, I can destroy 3 target creatures and or planeswalkers. Very useful. Alright, we got Garruk. Great in this deck because it gives me some mana ramp. And it allows me to put in a beast creature token on the battlefield. I like that ability. I really don't care for the -4, but definitely in this deck, good to have a blocker. Definitely. Next up, we're going to go ahead and check out Teferi, Temporal Archmage. Very useful card. I mean, this is pretty broken. You know, if you're running this deck, you pretty much have to have this guy in the deck. I mean, his -10, you may activate loyalty abilities of planeswalkers you control on any player's turn anytime you would cast an instant. So, if you think about it, Commander, it's a 4-player pod. You're going to basically be able to get planeswalker abilities activated on each other player's turn. So, in a turn rotation, that's 3 planeswalker activations in that rotation. That's broken. That's just beyond broken in this deck. Unbelievable, huh? I think it's amazing. And the last and final planeswalker in this deck, Nissa, Steward of Elements. I love how they kind of got our staff to go over the letters like that. That's, you don't see that too often. They don't usually do that. Anyway, you can scry 2. Useful to get what you need. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card or a creature card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of loyalty counters on Nissa, Steward of Elements, I could put it in the battlefield. So pretty much anything in this deck is mostly 6 or less casting cost. So 6 loyalty counters, 0. It's just ridiculous. Plus with the card draw I've got in the deck, I mean, high probability I'm going to get her out. So it's like pretty incredible. All right, next up we're going to have the enchantments. This one, it's pretty obvious what it does. It gives me double mana. Don't really care about the creature +1/+1, but the double mana, definitely useful in this type of deck. We got a new card here. This would be Eldest Reborn from the new Dominaria set. Obviously you can see it gives me some advantages for 3 turns. And the last ability, well, if I've got a dead Planeswalker, well, now I don't have a dead Planeswalker, it's back out of the battlefield. Very, very useful. So much value for 5 mana. You get something for 3 turns. Love it. And, of course, we got some things here. I'll just run through them real quick. Rhystic Study. When an opponent plays a spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 1. Pretty useful. Propaganda. You know, I'm tempted to either keep it or take it out. Not sure. Granted, I don't believe that this protects my Planeswalkers, but you know what? If they're attacking me or doing anything else with it, then at least they have to pay 2 for it. Sphere of Safety. Jeez. Creatures can't attack you or a Planeswalker you control unless the controller pays X for each of those creatures, or X is the number of enchantments I control, and there's a whole bunch of enchantments in here, so yeah, that could pretty well make me almost invincible. Like the old-fashioned Protoss shield wall. Probably tells you people how old I might be. I actually played StarCraft back in the day. This card's pretty much, you have to have it in this deck. I mean, it's pretty obvious that you're pretty well putting out counters on Planeswalkers, so this doubles your counters instantly. You know, anytime you put one on, you get 2. There's so many ways to get ridiculous amounts of doubling upon doubling upon doubling and proliferating and all this good stuff. So, amazing card. Gotta have it in this deck. I mean, there's a lot of decks that can go in. I'm probably sure this is why it's worth something. It's a pretty good card. We got some other ones here. Inexorable Tide. You can see whenever I cast a spell, I can proliferate. It gives me counters on Planeswalkers. Amazing. All these are Oath cards. Basically, they're all pro Planeswalkers. So Oath of Ajani, Liliana, Anissa, Gideon, Chandra, and Teferi. They all usually give buffs. I mean, good example here being that Planeswalker spells cost 1 less to cast. That's right there. It gives me extra value to get those Planeswalkers out. Really good stuff. Here we go. We're going to go to hit creatures. This card is amazing in this deck. I mean, right there. You can read it. You can see what it does. That's pretty broken. I can just put it into play. I just have to damage somebody. It's a flyer, so if somebody's not, playing flyers or doesn't remove this, well, they get free stuff. So, can't complain about free stuff. And Planeswalkers just going to battlefield for nothing. Can't complain about that. Anyway, moving onward, we got this guy. You can see what he does. Double the number of counters and double the number of each kind of counter on any number of target permanents. Double. And then doubling season. Doubles it again. So what? I have 30, 50 counters on a Planeswalker possibly? That's broken. It's crazy. Jace the Mind Sculptor goes off 3 times. Mind Sculptor. 3 times. Defeats all players. I guaranteed I'd probably get a lot of hate for that, but who knows? Let's see if this ever goes off. I'm curious. Alright, we got this guy. New card coming out of the new sets, out of the new Dominaria set. You can see how this could be useful. We're going to say Consecrated Sphinx, Magus of the Disc, Platinum Angel. You figure what that does. I mean, I can't lose the game. Can't complain about that. Shalai, Voice of Plenty, new card, Arena Rector. Really useful in this deck. If he dies, I go get a Planeswalker. Runeclaw, these are some mana generation here at the top. You can see what they're about. True Name Nemesis, can pretty well, he's a blocker and pretty much is completely immune to a specific player. And we've got some sorceries and enchantments. We got Ponder, Steady Progress, Settle the Score, Day of Judgment. That's a board wipe there. That'll get rid of all the creatures in play. I'm playing Planeswalkers, so don't think I'm worried too much about my creatures. Tezzereth's Gambit, Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. This is a new card in the Dominaria set, so you can take a look at it. Put up to 1 target creature or Planeswalker card from a graveyard into the battlefield under my control. So I can pretty much target any of the 3 graveyards looking for Planeswalkers and or creatures, you know, if they've been put there. So really useful. And good stuff there. And let's see what else we got. Let's see here. Maybe show you Settle the Score just so you can see what it does. Exile target creature, put 2 loyalty counters on a Planeswalker control. Yeah, it costs 4. It doesn't do a lot, but you know what? That could be useful. It could be a game changer. You never know how that's going to play out. All right, now we're going to go to, let's see. That actually really pretty well does most of the things that we need to be talking about here. So what I'd like you guys to do is, if you do me a big favor, go ahead and maybe give me some suggestions about this deck. If there's things I should, you know, upgrade it with, or cards I should remove, or what do you think about it? You know, if you have any questions about it or want to reminisce about some favorite cards you like in it, you know, definitely go ahead and leave those comments about what it is you see here. You know, I want to hear your input, your feedback. Tell me what you think about this. And, of course, you know, I'll be happily playing this deck here shortly. So maybe I'll do a follow-up video and tell you how it went. And maybe that way you can have an idea for yourself if you want to build this deck, and then decide if it's something you want to play. So thank you very much for watching this video today, and I hope you guys have a nice evening, and happy playing Magic. Bye-bye now.